Hey guys, so it's been a while since I've posted any videos or put anything on YouTube. I have had a busy couple years. I have had two more amazing little girls, so we now have five girls, which is such an amazing blessing, but it's been a little chaotic. A few years ago, when I started making these YouTube videos, it was after a specific church service where I felt God clearly tell me that my plan and purpose in life was to encourage other people and to use my testimony and my story and all the things that I've been through to be a blessing to other people. And when I made the YouTube videos, I didn't even think anyone would watch them, and that wasn't the point to, have tons of people watch them. It just was that there was somebody that needed to hear it, and I might not have understood it, but I was going to be obedient to God's calling and what He was telling me to do, and I was just had this crazy hungry desire to encourage and uplift people. And I just got so busy over the last couple years with new kiddos and working and school and everything that I just allowed it to kind of take over my time and my energy, and I started to let my desires of my heart and what I felt God was calling me to do to just kind of disappear and let life get in the way of it. And I just the last, I don't know, 6 months or so, the desire has came back so strong, and I knew that I needed to continue my work and do what He had called me to do. And so I started working on my blog, which finally I finished last night and launched it. There's just a couple posts on there, so it's just coming up, but just the fact that it's created and it's there, and if it can reach anybody at all, that's all that matters to me. And if I can just be a blessing to even one person, that's good enough. But last night I was laying in bed and I was praying, and I just started thinking about all the times that, especially lately, these last 3 months has been a battle for me, and it's all been a mind battle. And it's just been things that I've been facing mentally and emotionally, and just being overwhelmed. With life can just be super overwhelming, and I noticed that it started to get in the way of reading and the way of praying. I just felt so overwhelmed sometimes that I just felt like I couldn't pray, or my worries and my anxieties would take over my prayer time because I was so focused on thinking about those things. And I just started to think last night about how often, and I don't know how many of you are like me, where as soon as my head hits the pillow, my mind starts going 1,000 miles a minute, and that is when everything hits me at once, and it's just not always the best because then you don't go to sleep. And so sometimes I'm up till 2, 3 in the morning just thinking about everything I have to do, everything I didn't do. How is this going to happen? How is that going to happen? And I fall asleep thinking about these stressors or these worries or these fears or these anxieties that I have, and then I dream about them. So not only do I fall asleep thinking about them, then I'm dreaming about them. And then since I'm dreaming about them, I wake up thinking about them. So they're consuming my life pretty much. I don't get good sleep because I'm dreaming about the things that I worry about, and I wake up and start my day off that way. And I just started to remind myself that that's exactly what the enemy wants us to do. He wants to crowd our minds and our personal space and our time with God with worries and things of this world, and everything we have going on that we feel like we don't have time for it. And I thought that gives us no time for rest. Sleeping is supposed to be our time for rest, but if we're consuming our time we're supposed to be sleeping with thinking about these things or dreaming about these things and waking up thinking about these things, then we're never getting any time for rest, and we all need it. And I was just reminded by God last night that He is our resting place, and we're supposed to put those things at His feet. And I started to question and think about how stupid it was that I felt like I didn't have time to pray, or I didn't have time to read, but I have time to look at Facebook, or I have time to check my emails and do all this unnecessary stuff. Or instead of laying in bed thinking about all the things that are wrong. I could be laying in bed talking to him and telling him what is wrong and laying them at his feet and surrendering them to him. And just, I would so much rather fall asleep in his presence talking to him than I would fall asleep worrying and just being overwhelmed and stressed out. And I think that's such a tactic that the enemy uses, is just to crowd our mind and to just to fill it with this stress and anxiety and worry and fear, and it just tears us down to where we feel like we don't have any room for God. And that's when I think we need him the most, is when we feel like we have no room for him, because that means that we're harboring all of this stuff on our own, and we're trying to take care of everything on our own, and not allowing him to guide us and lead us in these situations. And it can be very overwhelming. And so I just want to encourage someone, that may be like me, that lays in bed and their mind doesn't shut off until 2 or 3 in the morning, to just take that time and just to get into his presence and just tell him everything that you're feeling, and give him those worries and those fears and lay those down at his feet, and just allow him to just lead you and direct you and guide you in these times, and let him just overwhelm you with his peace and his presence, and you're just gonna sleep so much better, and you're gonna wake up feeling better, and then just wake up thankful and thanking him for what he's gonna do throughout that day to help you get through it all. But it's just a quick thought that I had that was really strong on my heart last night, that I couldn't sleep because I just kept thinking about it and started writing it down. And it's just something that I hope someone else can take and use it and apply it to their lives as well.